You are in for an interesting ride.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ETN interview. This one is with my guest, Daniel Schoenrock, who is from Wisconsin in the USA. And Daniel contacted me just a few days ago, and we had a chat on Zoom. And he very bravely said that if I wanted to use that meeting material that I could. So I have edited it down, and we are just over half an hour. And this is the first time since the early 70s, when Daniel began having experiences as a child, that he has reached out to someone. He's been speaking to one or two people from MUFON, and he's been having some hypnotherapy in recent times. But this is, in the first week or so, the first time he's actually spoken to people publicly about it. And this is the first time he's gone on camera. So I hope you will welcome Daniel and be kind to him. It's clearly still quite a traumatic experience and memory, and it is an ongoing scenario. So not everybody is a natural on camera. Not everybody can speak easily about what they've gone through. And I hope everybody who watches this interview with this brave gentleman also feels compassion for this strange experience that part of humanity is going through, whether we've contracted to do that or not. When we are not consciously able to assimilate it, it is quite tough. Not only tough on us, but also in being able to express it to our family, loved ones, and others, as you'll hear from Daniel. I hope you enjoy this interview.
Daniel Schoenrock.
Thank you. So how are you?
Good, I'm good. Where would you like me to start? Let's see, I'm in Wisconsin in the U.S., kind of a small town. I started hypnotherapy about December 26, 2019, because I'd had an experience a few days before. And I kind of had little experiences in the past when I lived in California, not real big, but I had this experience, must have been like the 24th of December 2019. I went to bed when I was in this cocoon, kind of a skin sheen-like cocoon, hanging from a tree. And I looked over. This is in a field. There's a row of trees behind me. I look over, and there's two friends sitting on the porch of the shack, and they put these bug masks on, like insect faces. Explore this, and I knew something had. I had two experiences as a teen, and one when I was 21. So I'd had experience as a teen, and one I believe I was 21. When I was a teen, there's a lot of experiences in the past couple of years. When I was a teen, I went to bed. I was at my parents' house, the house I grew up in. A cat came in, went to bed. He started meowing, wanted to be let out of the room, and I went and let him out. There was a window to the right, and I saw this giant ball of white light come down and come at me. And the next thing I know, I'm awake the next morning. And then when I was 21, I was living with a friend of mine and went to bed. I didn't really fall asleep, but then I was raised up and floated out the window, and there were two graves on either side of me. So those are my earlier experiences. The hypnosis, I knew what I was going in for. I thought I was going in for the experience with the cocoon. I mean, I went in with that kind of in mind. I didn't know too much about hypnosis. Rich, my hypnotherapist, and I started talking about what would happen, told me about him, and I told him about me. So I start to go under. I guess I go under within like 10 seconds. 1993, my partner and I at the time went to a cabin in the woods outside of town here in Wisconsin. So, we were having a fire. We had a couple beers, no big deal, listening to music. I went to bed. And it got incredibly windy. And I was all scared, and kind of the partner was kind of getting bothered by me talking about it. So when I went into hypnosis, I saw the cabin. It had a half bedroom upstairs of the cabin, a bed, wooden ladder. What I saw is one of the graves coming up the stairs, kind of bouncing like Pinocchio, almost like a marionette. And then I was standing up, he was standing up, and it was like our heads kept switching or something. And, both of them were glowing. They've told me before, it's always by telepathy, the exchange of information. And then I was floated up to a ship through the ceiling. I was in a white room. It was kind of half rounded. There were two tans there. I saw my body on a slab, encased in like a rubber skin that was kind of glowing. Then I was floated down back to the bedroom. So that's what I saw on my first session. During the session, I was shaking, I was crying, I was hot, I was cold. My arm was raised halfway like this part. I was in a longer chair. That was the first session. I didn't go in seeing that. I didn't think, okay, I'm going to go explore this. I thought I was going to explore the other thing, which we went back and explored later. Rich is licensed and everything. He's a great guy. He's kind of a mentor to me. So, yeah, we uncovered a lot of stuff. I've written it all down. I kind of started a book after the first session. I'm a writer anyway. I've been writing poetry for a long time. And I just thought this was the book I was meant to write about this. This is it. I'd always kind of tried with my poetry, but I could never quite get there. So we had from December till May when I had my heart attack, my pacemaker, because I had to recover for it took a long time. Then we started working 2 weeks ago and we had 2 sessions. Once again, I go in, not what I see, I don't go in thinking, oh, I'm going to see this. One of the sessions I saw, I see this room a lot, the same room. It's rounded, it's a gray room. It's kind of like if it's at the end of a ship. I've seen a couple ships before. And there's kind of either lights or windows, a door in front of the slab or table, a door behind it, 2 hallways going off either end. So I'm on this slab and there's kind of a headrest that kind of goes like this and down. And there are 2 graves, and then there's a giant skeleton over me of like a taller gray. They're opening my spine and I feel it. I physically feel it. And
so has this been going on since childhood? I know you've talked about your teens, but do you have any earlier memories?
Yeah. A lot of it's been through hypnosis, but we did go back and recover something from my childhood when I was 6 years old. Two incidents actually. It's weird. I can't pinpoint an exact day. And the experiences I have had, they're terrifying. They're very scary. Since the last 2 sessions, I've kind of made a little peace with it. And there's just so much. I got them all written down. And
I was just going to ask you about family, if it's just you.
it seems to be just me. And it's kind of interesting. When I was a teen, I was at the mall and there was a bookstore and Communion had just come out. And I walked past the display and I just stopped in my tracks. It was just like, I've read Communion, Little Bud Hopkins, I've seen Fire in the Sky, I've seen Communion, but that's pretty much it. I don't read about it, I don't watch movies or anything because I've started a couple documentaries. I just can't, I can't watch it. It's just something in me. I had a hypnosis session as a teen that my brother took me to, and I was asking him about it. He's like, I don't remember about it at all. I don't think I took you to anything like that. I have this vivid memory of it. I can see the basement. I remember what I saw during the session.
Being able to talk about it to your parents?
No. Oh, both my parents are dead. My mom died 2016 and my dad died in 1980 when I was 12. I've talked to some people. I talked to this friend of mine who's kind of religious. I talked to a pastor. Told a friend of mine who's kind of a writer, kind of pagan, the Viking culture. And another friend who doesn't really talk to me anymore after I told her this. Rich, of course, and yeah, that's it. I don't know what my friends would think. Yeah, my older friends.
Yeah, it's difficult, I know, isn't it?
Last night, I had an hour-long conversation because I kind of been reaching out to different groups in the area, and one to investigate whatever that means after I talked to them. I got connected with a guy from MUFON. I was a little afraid to talk because I'm going to tell him his experiences, and they don't sound like others or whatever. We talked for an hour. It was amazing. He didn't judge me.
I always want to know about how your health is generally, and if you think that these ET elements has had an impact, and also if you think that you are aware of any attributes that you would think that are more unusual or more developed in you than most people.
My health is good. You know, I had the heart attack and pacemaker. The visitors have told me telepathy that they can't interfere with like our bodies. They can't interfere, like they can't cure us. That's not what they're here for.
Oh, there are some stories of healings. There are some, so they do.
They do? Yeah.
Well, they have. Anyway.
Maybe it's just.
Well, I think everybody's got their path, and you know, however yours is crafted. And so, what about any particular, what I might call attributes, skills, abilities that more developed to a greater or lesser extent than you would know that most people would have that skill or ability? I don't know if you're aware of that.
And myself,
yes.
ability was
yes.
myself. I think I'm very intelligent. I'm very open. I've always been very spiritual.
I'm just wondering, I guess, too, if you have been aware of any changes in your faculties or development since your ET experiences, or as a result of. There's no right or wrong answer.
More highly developed. Just, you know, my thinking is better, and right away my writing became better after. It's hard to talk about, and I haven't talked about it much.
Well, don't make yourself uncomfortable. I'm just here to hear what you have to say and have experienced if you feel comfortable doing that.
One thing we saw in the last session was I was in that gray room again, and there was a tan in front of me, and he reached out, pulled a little gold ball out of my nose. I could feel it. Right here was burning, felt crusted over, and he told me it was an exchange of information, and that's what the ball was. I've been told a lot about exchanging information, and I can only see so much right now. They tell me I'm not ready for the whole thing.
Okay. So, for example, like the spinal event, did you have a problem with your spine in any way?
No, I've never had anything with it, but I could feel it when they opened it. It was just my spine was hurting during the session. No, I've never had any real back problems or anything.
That's interesting then, isn't it? Do you get any awareness either through your sessions or otherwise from sharing information, what it is that they're interested in with you?
What I've been told is, I don't know if it's me and the person or all of us, we have something they need, they don't have. I'm not shown what it is.
All this stuff is very big. It's a perception paradigm changing on steroids. Is your main area of interest or work writing?
You know, writing, and very much into the arts, music, things like that. And I've been told by them they want me to share my story, my experiences.
Oh, I see. You know, oh, okay.
Maybe to help others, and just kind of for myself too. And I've sent some of my writing and talked to a few publishers, and they're very interested. You know, after that first session, I was just like, I gotta do something with this. I can't sit on this until my deathbed, and they find my writing after.
So likely then, I'm guessing that you might not have taken to, say, writing your story if you hadn't had these encounters.
You know, I always thought I had this poetry book. For the visitor books, I also write poetry about that too, connected to that, and some samples.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot. Also, in the sessions, I've seen 3 past life events. One was, I don't know if it was me as a pharaoh or I'm seeing a pharaoh, but either him or I are standing on a dune, you know, dressed in the regular pharaoh garb, holding a scepter, looking down into the desert, and there are three pyramids. Visitors on the ground just kind of milling around. There were ships in the sky. These were black, kind of triangular, I believe. And then I went into a catacomb, and there were drawings of the visitors on the wall. There was a stone slab there, and that's just the bit I saw. This name keeps coming up. I said in the last session, I kind of forgot about Rich and I were Tobiah, Tobieth. Tobi means good as God, or God is good, and ETH means king.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we were like combining them together. I guess my point is, I feel I should share it, all of it.
Yeah, seems like I'm gathering by you saying there's so much that you just had very regular encounters. Is that the case?
Yeah. Rich and I, after we worked together one time, he's like, you try and contact them, asking to contact. It doesn't work that way. It's very much for me against my will. They come when they want to. They take whatever they're taking. I haven't exactly been shown yet, but it's very much on their time.
A lot of people talk when they're taken about having hybrid children. Do you know if that's
I've seen, apparently I have a son. He was taller, and he was hybrid. He was human, but a taller white or tan visitor. And it's weird when I saw him. He had like this black hair. I've never seen that. I don't know what it was about. When I was seeing him, it was in this wall, and there were like cubbies with like a skin over it. And I think I was 16. For some reason, it keeps in my head that I was 16. I was trapped in there and trying to get out and screaming, and they were showing him to me. And there were other visitors around holding babies that were hybrids. I don't know if I'm a hybrid. I've kind of, in my writing, my poetry, that's kind of come up. I'm just at the point of, I want to do something with all this. What do I do going forward? And
you could also do some little presentations, maybe readings of your poetry at coffee shops and libraries, whatever.
Yeah, Rich and I had talked about that, and kind of this past week, since Tuesday, I started reaching out to different groups, a couple of publishers, and it's kind of been overwhelming. I had 2 scoop marks, but they kind of disappear and reappear. And then I've seen like a glowing wand going into my ear before. I don't know if it's actually in, but I have this bump behind my ear.
Very common, the bump behind the ear.
There's nothing funny about it. I don't make it. It's terrifying. It's painful.
Do you experience a lot of pain after an event?
Yeah, after the one where I saw the ball pulled out of my nose for about an hour and a half. My nose was right through here, it was burning. It lasted like an hour and a half, that sensation. And then when I guess I opened up my spine, my back hurt for about an hour after. It's very physical to me. A lot of times I have tingling in my left hand, it kind of tingles and goes numb, tingles.
Oh, okay.
I've seen little wires attached. They're kind of wrapped around here with wires coming out.
And have you at all seen other humans around when you've been having your experience?
Yeah, and one thing I saw a man in the woods with a bright light coming down. He was in the woods, and he was curled down and kind of looking up like this at the light. I know it was a ship with the light coming down. I haven't always seen ships. I live in the middle of a city, and talking with Rich about it, and we're like, and he, I don't think they necessarily just travel by ships.
No.
I think it's interdimensional too.
Yeah.
And he thought so too. But I have seen ships. But I have these experiences. If there's a ship outside my apartment, people would see it definitely. Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Sometimes that's not the way it works. You can, like John Lennon, you probably know that story. I don't know if you do. That John Lennon saw a huge ship outside his apartment, and he and his girlfriend saw it. But I know of people who've had sightings of huge craft in a very busy area, and it's just like the other people have been put to some kind of stasis as soon as whatever's happened has happened, or the sighting, the awareness has been clocked by the person that it's relevant to, then everything is switched back on and people go about their business. How that works, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like healing and or damage can be done also, especially with women on the gynecological side when they talk about, you know, the hybrid babies. I know the guys who have had probably semen extraction, and that's nothing pleasant about that.
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
For some
Yeah,
women, it can cause a lot of gynae problems over their lives. Not that that's an intentional thing, it's just a consequence of tissues being, you know, manipulated. So how often would you say you are having experiences? Can you quantify it like that? Every week or every month? Or
I would say every couple months. I lived in California for 24 years. I'm in Wisconsin, in my hometown. I moved out there in 93 with my partner at the time. I moved back here in 2019. And it's hard to place for me the time or the day or date or even year for these. But I remember a lot in California, I would go to bed, just be laying there, like, I'm terrified they'll come tonight. I was terrified. And when I felt that, I had two of them, one in one corner, one in the other. Out there, it was more just this feeling like, I don't want them to come. I don't want this. And I remember there was one experience in my bedroom, I had kind of the blackout shades. Huge bright light came through the shades. Blackout shades are pretty good.
yeah.
It was like they were nothing. I don't know, it's very terrifying experiences. And they're not going to stop. They're not just going to go away. And I don't know. I know that. I feel like I know these things.
Yeah.
Like I can't explain, like I know that, like they told me.
Is there other aspects that they would like you to communicate about?
Just tell my story, my visitations, my take on what I think it is.
Sure. So what do you think it is?
I think they're interdimensional. I have a picture actually of my bed. Marking is gone now, but I remember sitting on my bed, and this was one of the taller white visitors who's translucent, like almost a rubber suit that's glowing around them. And we're kind of holding hands and exchanging information. And then a couple days later, I found brown, like burn marks on my bed. They're gone now, but I did take pictures of them. I have pictures somewhere that I printed out.
Interesting.
And, they look like burn marks.
Did you read Whitley Strieber's other book, Transformation?
No, I don't want to taint myself, though. That's why I stay away from that.
The reason I say that is because of your fear.
Okay.
Because, in communion, he had huge fear too.
Yeah.
Transformation, that changes.
Okay, I'll pick it up. Check it.
Up to you, but he went from your state and he was able to work through it in a different way. And you might find it helpful, healing. And I don't think it matters if you have some other information which can give you some support.
This week is the first time I've really been talking about it to people who are in the know or whatever. And it's just, especially after I got off the phone with Bill, the MUFON guy, last night. He runs the MUFON chapter in Minnesota, kind of near Minnesota. And I just felt this release with it. Finally, I can talk about it to people who know about it.
Yeah.
I was a little afraid to talk to him before the phone call because I'm like, well, what if my experiences aren't exactly like this person?
I think it's well founded. I understand it. It's huge. It's life-changing. It's hard for people to wrap their heads around it. As far as I'm concerned, a reality that has been around for a very long time.
So I guess going forward, I just want to put this out there in some way. Like they've told me for some reason I need to tell my story. My very first experience, at least I remember in hypnosis, 7 or 8, I was on my parents' front lawn, just playing with a little truck. Look up, I see a white ship floating, and there's a few clouds. And I look over, and there's a chariot with a person in it, like, the little chariots in the city behind it. And then I was in my living room, and there were rays milling about. So I don't know what a chariot would mean, but I think that's my first real experience that I've had.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next was when I was a teen.
When you were in California, did your partner have any experiences along with you?
Not that I know of, and I haven't told him about this.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
he knows I'm writing about something. He kind of knows a little bit. He hasn't asked about what I'm writing about. You know, I want to tell him. We're still very good friends, and we're together 27 years. Just it didn't work anymore. We text all day throughout the day, and I want to tell him, but there's a big fear there. You know, I mean, at some point I'm gonna have to tell him, and yeah.
Well, you know, a way maybe to ease the information his direction, maybe to send one or two videos and just say, hey, I've just been looking at this. What do you think?
I never thought of that. That's a good idea. He's willing to talk too.
It's great that he was very positive, your session, and not all therapists are open to this field.
Yeah, I kind of Googled therapists after the one experience, and I almost laughed at me when they knew when I found out what I was talking about. Be very open about it. Has very strong thoughts on it. You know.
Best way to be, because it's happening whether they believe it or not.
Become like a father figure to me, almost kind of like a guru.
How lovely. How nice.
The Visitor Journal's One Man's Awakening. It'll be like my experiences, poetry in between.
I think that's a nice idea.
Yeah. Rich has actually written a foreword for it already. I could send that to you. It's good.
Yeah, please do.
There's a little less fear now after these last few sessions. But they're very physical. Like I'm exhausted after them.
Yeah. Do you take anything of the complementary health nature modality to support you, like things like rescue remedy, which is good for shock and trauma thing, or any homeopathic remedy to help you?
No, I didn't take anything like that. I hadn't really heard about that. It helps you with shock.
Rescue remedy was created in the 1930s by Dr. Bach, B-A-C-H or Batch, and he realized that a lot of his patients were also suffering from emotional stress conditions, and he was a nature guy and was out in nature. He was really looking for different remedies for his patients, and so there's about 38 of them, and the rescue remedy is a combination of 5 remedies. But it's very good because you can use it on animals, wild animals and stuff, if they're gone into shock. And it's very good if you're in a very stressful situation, or say you've just come out of your therapy session and feeling really whatever, and just have a few drops in water, and you can take it a couple of times a day. It's all steeped in a brandy base to keep it, but it's very helpful. But there's a whole list of them. If you want to Google the Batch flower remedies, that's what they're known as. They work on the subtle levels, so those emotional higher functioning levels that we don't often give credence to, especially in a state of fear and that kind of thing. To help you deal with that, you may find some homeopathic remedies very helpful. Are you completely conscious in this scenario?
Yeah. I mean, I remember everything I say.
Yes.
He hasn't told me that there are things I said that I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of when I went into hypnosis. I thought, oh, you go under and you say all this stuff and you don't remember it. I knew very little about it. I knew it was used in each type of situation.
Yeah. And have you had any health issues or anything, do you think, because of those experiences in any way?
I think with my heart attack, I should have died, and I think they meant to intervene.
You think they did?
I think they did. I was intubated for 8 days, and they were expecting me to die, and I woke up. I should be in worse condition than I am. I guess I'm just reaching out because I need to know what to do going forward with all I have.
As you're in communication with them, that you could ask them to help you deal with the fear. This is what Whitley Strieber was talking about in Communion, that first book, the absolute mind-numbing fear, which is why I think you might benefit from reading Transformation, because he's able to move forward. And it just may help you not to taint your knowledge. I hear what you say about that, but frankly, your experience is your experience, and what anybody else has to say about, oh, you've made that up because you read it in some book, never mind them. You just have to
Okay.
forget it, because this is your experience. And it's the same for a guy called Jim Sparks, another of your compatriot, who wrote a book called The Keepers. And he too was absolutely terrified and fighting against it forever until he found a way to come to terms with it. And also there was more negotiation, more latitude between them. I can feel your overwhelm. If this is happening anyway, how can you also benefit more from it for yourself, for your own psychology, for your own health and well-being on all layers? You could journalize it as sort of experiment one. Today, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to send out a telepathic message and say, I know this is something that's going on. You've told me it's not going to stop. So I need to have you help me deal with this in a different way. Help me with this emotional stress and terror, because it's not good. And if there's a way or something else I can do to communicate with you that helps me with that, please let me know, and keep that thought sort of rolling until you feel you get some response, that you could feel a degree of peace, at least, if not anything deeper. It seems to me like they want to be seen by you, and maybe it's so you can document it in your book. It's an idea.
Almost feels like assault.
Yes, absolutely. It is an assault.
It's a rape,
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I got a little peace with it, especially talking to the MUFON guy last night. It was just like, we had an hour talk, and it was just amazing. It's the first time. Well, I had a long Facebook talk with a friend who's kind of religious about. When I talked to him, it's like it was the first time I really talked about it.
Yeah. So. Well, I think you've taken a very brave first step. There is a website called Stop Alien Abductions, and Druffel, something like Stopping Alien Abductions. Some people have found, even if they weren't religious, to call on the name of Christ seems like the energy, the frequency or energy of that word has a very powerful impact. There are certain negatives that definitely don't like that frequency. A lot of people talking about the consciousness level believe that you've brought this in, part of what you're to unfold and experience here on the planet this lifetime round, that you've agreed to this, that there's a contract that you've agreed to. You could also try going, well, I don't think I want this contract anymore. I mean, you can play around with it however you want to, but there's lots of different views out there about why anybody has anything happen to them in their life, and why there are some experiences and people and not others, why it happens to you and not me. And, sometimes it is linked partially with genetics, but way beyond genetics is the consciousness level.
But I think there is something in abductees that are just at a higher level, kind of spiritual, but, It
is. It is all encompassing. It's part of a multi-layered reality.
Oh, okay.
All righty. So, look, it's been...
I'll go through some of my writing and figure out what to send.
Well, look, Daniel, it's lovely speaking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, great.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care, and well done.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Half a Whole Man, a visitor poem by experiencer Daniel Schoenrock. You are not Jesus, but you are the reason for my fear. My eyes close to sleep. You appear and I weep. More tubes, more wires in me. I watch the funeral pyre that is my own. So alone in remembering I am hypnotized again. I see I am me. I see I am him, combined, like conjoined twins. I am you, yet we share my body as the probing begins once again. What do they want? Why do they haunt me? They feed me information I cannot yet see. I feel raped, my mouth agape, my soul ripped to pieces, barely breathing. A silent scream escapes my lips. There is no understanding in this, no love from them. I wish to transcend from my end to theirs. I lay bare upon a slab. I cry through my laugh. And now I am dropped into my bed again, my head burning from their plans. I feel half a whole man.